Good afternoon, everybody. We're continuing with the laws of Lashon Hara, and we're starting a new chapter. This chapter deals with a lot of examples. The Chavetz Chaim is going to cite many practical examples in situations that come up on a daily basis or a somewhat frequent basis, and how and if you're allowed to speak speak Lashon Hara in those scenarios. So let's start. We're on the section Tziurim, the examples, number 1. We're going to talk about a case where you have a friend who is thinking of partnering, or he already became a partner with a fellow who is not so honest. He's a crook. Im hu roa sheRuven rotze lehishtatev im Shimon beinyane hamischar. You have a friend Ruven, and he wants to become a partner with a fellow Shimon. VeShimon eno makiro betivo v'hu makar heitiv leRuven mikfar she'eno chayshish l'mamen acherim. And this fellow, he doesn't really care about the money of others. He's not careful with other people's money. And because of his bad nature. You should warn your friend, do not become a partner with him. And it's not Lashon Hara. But you have to be careful to have all of the conditions which we mentioned in Rechilas Klal Tes Sif Beis in 9.2. Let's just go over those conditions again. The conditions is you have to contemplate that it's true and that what this person does is really not right. He's a thief. 2, you're not allowed to exaggerate. Number 3 is your intent has to be for a purpose. You're trying to help your friend. 4, you can't get your friend to not partner with him unless you tell him. And 5, there's not going to be any damage that's going to befall the other person. So if before your friend wants to partner with somebody, you know some objectively bad information about him, you're not allowed to tell. Beis. V'im kvar nishtantev imo. Let's say they already became a partner. Reuven became a partner with Shimon, and you know bad stuff about Shimon. Metzad shelo haya makiro. V'zeh makiro be'etzem tivo. Right? Reuven didn't know what Shimon was all about, and you know about Shimon. So it depends on this. If you know that when you tell your friend Ruvain about Shimon's bad character traits, all Shimon's going to do is in the future he's going to be careful and he's going to protect himself. He's going to double check the books and things like that. Then you're allowed to tell him. But again, you have to be careful that you have all of those 5 conditions which we just mentioned. Aval, imhu roa shedvarav yiskablu ma'od lifnei hashemea v'ayde ze yavu hefsid mamish l'hasheknegdo dahainu sheyivato me'atzmo shutvis sheimo oshar inyane hezek asr l'galaslo. But if your friend Ruvain is the type of person that as soon as you tell him this information, he's going to cancel his partnership and he's just going to stop everything, then you're not allowed to tell him because a real damage will happen to Shimon. So it's like this. If Reuven and Shimon are already partners, and by you telling Reuven's just going to protect himself in the future by double checking the books and everything like that, then you could tell him. However, if Reuven is rationally going to just break up the partnership, then you are not allowed to tell him. Okay. Halacha Gimel. Vida od, no furthermore. Dema'ot sarach lizar shlo liyayetz l'Reuven sheishtatef im Shimon im hu yedeya shum reyusa sheyuchel lios ayidei shutvasam kigon mipnei anyusa v'kol shchim im einenu ish neman kol kach v'hu adin le'inyan shidduch oy uman u'ka'gavna da'afilu ba'afanim she'asu leilech l'harga al Shimon kigon leilech l'saper alav lifnei Reuven she'einenu takav ba'mamado u'kanal. He says that you are not allowed to give someone advice to partner with someone that you yourself, he's going to say that you yourself would not partner with. Even in a case when it's prohibited to say Lashon Hara about. For instance, let's say that Reuven is partnering with Shimon, and you don't know anything objectively bad about Shimon. Maybe he's not like the best at his job. He's not horrible, but he's not the best. So really, you're not allowed to share that information because it's not objectively, bad. But if you yourself would not partner with Shimon because of that information, you're not allowed to advise Reuven to partner with him. So while you're not allowed to tell him the information, you're also not allowed to go actively encourage him to partner with him. Now that applies whether it's a business partnership whether it's a marriage, someone's dating somebody, and it also applies if you're hiring a worker in your house. And earlier he actually mentions that if someone is poor, right, your friend wants to join a business partnership with someone and he's poor, it sounds like that's not a good enough reason to tell somebody not to partner with somebody, because he doesn't have enough assets, maybe he's worried. It sounds like you're not allowed to say that. However, if you yourself, because of that reason, wouldn't partner with Shimon, then you can't actively advise Ruvain to partner with him. Okay, Gavna b'shidduch u'b'uman kol echad l'finyano. Hainu dafka leilech u'laharalo aser. Right? Like we mentioned, you're only allowed in certain scenarios not to go and tell him the negative information. B'kama gavna mitam rechilas, because of rechilas. Aval lahefech, but the opposite. The hainu laharalo Ruvain u'liyayetz oso sheyase hashutves imo o sheyishtadech imo kahai gavna im hu yodeh ba'atzmo she'ilo haya davar hazeh nagei lo kegon shehu haya tzarech le'inyanim hahem haya misrachik me'hanashim ha'elu iser gamer hu liyayetz es chaveru b'zeh tezehu b'chlal lifnei iver lo titein michshol. So wow, you're not allowed to go and tell Ruvain not to partner with him because of this information. You're not allowed to actively advise someone. There's a prohibition in the Torah, lifnei iver lo titei mechshol. You're not allowed to put a stumbling block in front of a blind person, which means you're not allowed to give someone bad advice. So if you yourself would not partner with this person, you cannot go and actively advise him to partner with him. And it's a Torah prohibition. It is a Torah prohibition to give someone bad advice. Especially, I'm not sure if it's only in the opinion of the Rambam, but it's definitely prohibited to give someone bad advice. People are biased and they often make a mistake in this prohibition. It's a very serious sin. That the desire for money causes people to violate Torah prohibitions. Okay, so to summarize, we learned that if someone is about to partner with somebody else and you know something bad about his partner, you should tell him something. It has to be something objectively bad. He's a thief, not just that he's poor or he's not the best at his job, but it has to be something really bad. And to find out exactly what that is, if it's a practical situation, always good to consult with a rabbi, a Torah expert who's learned these halachas well. Now, if that's before he is a partner, but if after he's already a partner with him, so it depends. If your friend is the type who will just take what you said under advisement and be careful to protect himself and double check the books and things like that, then you should tell him. But if your friend is the type who's very rash and right away he's going to break up the partnership, then you shouldn't tell him. And then we finished and we said another halacha. Oh, and just all of that which we mentioned has to be with the 5 conditions which we mentioned earlier. And the last halacha we said is that even when it's prohibited to speak lashon hara, if you yourself would not partner with a person, you're not allowed to advise him to partner with such a person. I wish everybody a beautiful day.